All right, how's everybody doing? Yes, we are live. We're a couple minutes late, but any time that I give for the live stream will always be Central Time. But I guess they probably adjust for that. Somebody asked, are we now or 2 hours later? So, yeah, they probably adjust for that. Anyway, here we are. And today we're going to do a sort of a theory lesson. I did some theory lessons a long time ago. Remember that when I did that? Bunch of theory lessons.
Off the Beatles.
Yeah.
That is on the website.
Yeah, it is a series. It's kind of older, so it's not high def or anything, but they work, you know.
No, we did that at the studio.
No, before that. Before that, I had a bunch of theory lessons. But I guess those were theory lessons too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's plenty of lessons, theory lessons on webpianoteacher.com for you to get into it. But I thought I'd do a little theory lesson live today, as well as check in with everybody. Jim says, "Is this Waco time or Michigan time?" Well, we're now whatever time now is.
It's 1:05.
Yeah, 1:05
here.
Hey James, how you doing? James 125.
Things get tricky with the time. I have family in Arizona, and they don't do daylight savings.
Oh yeah,
Evan is calling me.
Okay.
I'll just take my call.
All right. Yeah, we'll just stick with me here. Anyway, we're going to do a theory lesson on Genesis Afterglow, and I thought we'd do that because the lessons are on the site right now if you want to learn this. But I thought, it'd be cool to do a live stream and just to teach a little theory from it. But Genesis Afterglow was a hard request, and that I did this last one that I did, and it's on the website now in case you guys, and you can watch the free part 1 on there. I do a lot in the part 1. If you just sign up, you don't even have to pay to watch the free part 1s. You can start on that, but it's on the site along with the sheets. But we'll do some theory with this song, and it's actually a live version that Phil Collins did with his keyboard buddy who's ever playing. Phil's on the bongos. Just look up Afterglow Genesis Live.
I guess I could have put
and
the
you'll
camera
see.
on you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Too much was going on at once.
Yeah, live. We're trying to, as we're doing this, we're trying to get ready for our son's graduation party.
Well, that was our other son who needed to turn in his community service.
Okay, yeah, community service.
For
getting a ticket.
Getting a ticket.
Yeah, so.
Mom, where's the courthouse? I'm like.
It's funny. It's a funny story there because right before he got his ticket, but he was afraid to tell me. Because he's a really good driver. We always compliment Evan. You're such a good driver. Anyway, he got a ticket. He hadn't told me yet. And the night before, the day he got the ticket, I think I came in having him sign something because it was a good driver discount that I get on my insurance. He sat there and he signed it. And of course that went out the window. But actually, it's gonna still be in effect because he gets with his community service. It's not even gonna. It's not on his record at all. So it's really good. So. But yeah, he signed that knowing that he just got a ticket that day. Gosh, man.
But yes, we're getting ready for our oldest son's high school graduation.
Yes.
So we have people coming in.
Yeah, my father-in-law's outside working like a dog just to clean everything up. We have a big 17 acres, so there's lots of things that need cleaning up.
And it just seems like every time we have a big life thing happening, we decide to revamp the website or move the studio.
Yeah,
or
that's how it always works. I don't know,
something that requires us to.
It's always got to be crazy, but that's life, isn't it? Yeah. So Gary says, "Hey guys, greetings from Long Beach." Oh,
I'd love to get to some place that has a beach.
Beach,
in the
yes, I know it.
Nice.
Yeah. And Wooter, our good friend Wooter, he's back. Hello, how you doing? And then James says, "Shawn, are you doing any live Elton songs for your hired requests?" I've done a lot in the past. So there's a ton of Elton live stuff on the site. There's something like 50 lesson series, and I'm not talking about 50 lessons. I mean 50 lessons series. So there's 50 songs, something like that on Elton stuff. And many of those are live. I haven't had one lately. So no, if you'd like to bring up hired requests, I'm not doing the huge list that I used to do. I used to do, 150 and then it'd take me all year. I just want to do a little at a time. So I have finished this first one. I'm ready to take another one. If anybody has a hired request they'd like, send me an email to easypianolessons@yahoo.com. Send me a YouTube link. What you want me to do? Minimum price is $300, which covers most everything. Elton live versions might be a little more, but I'm doing
Yeah.
that. Also doing some Zoom lessons.
We gotta
you wanna do Zoom.
send that kid to college.
Yeah,
And pay for their speeding tickets.
that's right. Exactly. Okay, so yeah, we'll get into this theory here. And Shauna, you've actually taught a lot of piano lessons. She can play. She can play guitar. She plays mandolin.
You say
And,
that play,
like,
as,
right.
it's a very loose term here.
Yeah,
people.
but she doesn't have played lately, but she could get it back up if she started working on it. And you know music theory. You know what music theory is about, the basis of it at least.
You know, I didn't ever do music theory, but I played a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then once I started learning music theory, it was like light bulb. Like, oh, that's what's going on.
So what is music theory to you then? It's a light. How is it a light bulb?
Well, it was just like it was giving terms and names and explaining what I saw in the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like things I'd be like, you know, just like I didn't really, this is so simple. But like a chord,
Mm-hmm.
they're a third.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, third
I mean,
apart.
that's like the simplest
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
I remember. It just gave words to
Sure. It's like
patterns.
if you drive, the streets here in Waco are like Candyland. I always joke.
It's ridiculous.
The way they, you know, and you can be driving on the street and then you change streets and then you're all of a sudden you didn't change and you're back on the street you were.
They changed
Anyway,
the street names randomly.
And sometimes you'll just be going and a street will just dead end. You're like, you know, where, what's happening here? But the street just ends like for no reason.
And we have like 15th Street and 15th Street A.
Yeah. And some of them are one way, whatever, but you know, it's crazy. But it's like if, you know, a street system like that and you get around and then all of a sudden, you know, there's no names for the street and then you get names for the street. That's kind of what it's like, I think. Then you have a way to talk about what you are already experiencing. So music theory kind of gives you a roadmap, I think. So it's kind of boring if you never apply it to anything, I think, if you're just doing written work. But if you actually apply it, it's fascinating, I think. Okay, so we're going to get into the lesson here. Again, it's Genesis Afterglow is the song we're using because I like to show this in real music. I don't like to just talk about it and then never apply it to something we might play. All right, so our first chord is B, D, G in the right hand, okay? And I'm using a kind of electric piano sound here on my keyboard, on the Kauai. Left hand, we're going to do a G, okay? So usually the first chord of the song is the key you're in, right? And it's on you, actually. You were about to say something, I guess. You get ready.
I was like signaling.
I didn't see the red light, so I've learned enough to look for the red light.
I have not.
So usually the first chord of the song is the key you're in, right? So what is that first chord? I'm going to put Shawn on the spot there. We have a B, a D, and a G, and a G, and a D, and a G.
G.
Excellent. Yeah. Very common chord on the piano, also on the guitar, you know. So we have our G chord here. So that's going to be our one chord. Okay? You're one. Okay, the next chord, it looks kind of hairy there. But when you see a chord like that and you go, what in the world? Try to pick out the notes that are familiar to you. Again, I see G, B, D. So what we have is a G chord with an F sharp in it. So if you break that down and you mix the letters in the right, you put the letters in the right order, you have G, B, D, F sharp. That gives you your major 7. If it were F natural, it'd be another kind of a 7th chord, but major 7 kind of has that lazy, jazzy feel. So that's a G major 7. Okay, G on the bass still. Okay, so G, 1 chord. So what do you call that one? That's still a 1 chord. It's just a 1 major 7. So the chord didn't really change that much besides adding a F sharp. Listen how much different it sounds. You have that F sharp in there? Really sounds different. Okay, and I'm going to put Shawn on the spot again on the next one.
I'm just putting the camera on you so nobody can see my reaction.
All right. So here we have G, C, E, G, and we have G, E in the bass. And I'll give you a hint. The name of the chord is not the bass note.
C chord.
Excellent.
I'm not that pitiful.
I know, but I'll still put you on the spot. Okay, so most of the time, the note in the bass will be the name of the chord. Okay? but not always. So here's a case where it's not always. Okay, and how do I know that? Because I look at the ingredients of the chord here. I see C, E, G, and G. That's the ingredients of a C chord, C, E, G. So G and E on the bass. What do you call that? Well, it's a 4 chord, because if G is 1, then C is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's our 4 chord. G is the 1, C is the 4. Now, why are we doing this? Because when you play other songs in the key of G, you're going to have this stuff. You're going to have C chords. You're going to have a 4 chord. That's why we learn it in one song, because it's just going to repeat and shuffle the information in a different order in another song. So C, E, G. So we call that a 4 chord over a G bass. So G is like a pedal note. It's not the name of the chord, but it's underneath C chord. So let's put that together. G, 1, 1 major, 7, 4. And here's my favorite chord. Like that one? That was beautiful, right? So let's look at it this way first. I love this chord. It's that's fine. That's cool. I'll just look for the red light. And if I don't see a red light, I know it's this one up here. So we have minor 4 is beautiful. If you're playing along, you go, and then you go, you hear that? Okay, that's called a minor 4. So normally the 4 chord, the C chord, is a major chord, C, E, G. Nothing special about it, just a plain old vanilla major chord, C, E, G. But if you minor that guy and you lower the E to E flat, then you have the minor, the sad, melancholy sound. And we call it minor 4 because normally it's not a minor 4. Normally, in a major key, the 4 chord is major. Okay, so we have to say minor so that we denote minor. If I don't say minor, we just assume major. Okay, so we're used to this. But are we used to this? Not so much, but it's very beautiful, right? So I call it a minor 4. So this would be a minor 4 except for that A. But if I do this, if I put, show the overhead, there you go. If I take that G and I move it here, does it sound like it changed that much? It does. Yeah, it becomes a different chord, but it's kind of like a minor 4, just adding a note in there. But if I want to be exactly correct in talking about it, I'll call it an A half diminished. Okay, learning some good theory stuff here. Okay, A, C, E is a minor chord. A, C, E flat is a diminished chord. G on the top is, well, we call it half diminished. If it were a G flat, it would be fully diminished, and it's the, I always call it the tied to the railroad track chord. That sound, it would be a fully diminished 7th, but it's a half diminished. Ooh, but sometimes it helps to think of chords in a way that makes sense to you. So I like to think of this one as a C minor with an A added in it. Is that easier maybe than thinking A half diminished? Probably for most of you. So if you want to think of it as C minor, add an A to it. That may make sense to you. As long as you can make sense of it in your own system is all that matters. It doesn't matter if you can call it exactly the right thing that you would have to call it to get it correct on a theory course, okay? So think of it as C minor, add an A, but it's with a G on the bass, but A half diminished. So what does that sound like now? 1, major 7, 4, A half diminished, and A is the 7 chord, right? 1, 2, 3. The 2 chord. 1, 2. G is 2, so that'd be 2 half diminished 7. If you wanted to give it an official name, all right. G major 7, C chord, A half diminished. It keeps going. Does this again, and then it goes. After that, it does something cool that goes. Right? We'll talk about those last 2 there. Who knows what this is? We'll answer some questions, and then we'll talk about the last 2 chords. Let's see. Gary D. Hey, Gary. How you doing? Greetings from... Oh, no, we already saw that one. Amateur Spotter says, that keyboard sounds fantastic. Hi, Shawn and Shawn. I love the vids. Regards. Pronounced... Is it Aman or Amon? I bet it's probably Amon.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, that would be neat if your name was A-Man, right? Hey, man. It would just go right along. All right. So yeah, glad to have everybody watching. So the last two chords you have. So I'll see if somebody knows this one. Okay, based on what we've been talking about already. So what would this chord be? Here's an A and a C and an F natural. What would you call that? With a G in the bass. I wonder if anybody knows. And then the last chord, I'll take out the G and give you a better hint. A, D, F sharp. You have a G in there with it. Yeah. I would imagine that would be something everybody have to look at for a while, but I'll go ahead and tell you here. It's A, C, F natural, so that's called a flat 7. If G is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 would have been F sharp, but we're one down, so it's called flat 7 because normally it would have been an F sharp in the key of G. Flat it, so you have an F chord, F-A-C, and that's where you get F-A-C. And then the next chord is a normal A-D F sharp, which is just a D chord, D F sharp A. Adding a G in there gives it that little dissonance. All right? So here's the whole thing. C chord, A half diminished, G, 7. Here's the last two. Flat 7, D chord, and on a G there. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm loving that keyboard too, Amon. I am using there's the bank sound. See this keyboard has, or stage piano, whatever you want to call it, has a piano section, electric piano section, and then a string section. And what happens is you have this bank sounds on the right, and the people who program the keyboard have mixed these sounds on the left to make bank sounds on the right, which are really cool. Some of them are really cool. And so I'm using bank A selection 3, and whatever that one's called, I really like it for this kind of stuff. I like it because you can play real sustained, ooh, like a choir, but then you also give a little accent, little attack. Then you get a totally different, it sounds like I'm playing a different sound, but it's the same one. So I like having those. It's kind of like two sounds in one, according to how you attack it. So there's our theory there. Now, if you took that theory, theoretically, let's see, Wouter says, inverted F with G in the bass. Exactly right, Wouter. Very good. Excellent. So it is an F chord and it's inverted. What he means is instead of FAC in root position, the F's bumped on top and you see FAC. So to know those things, you have to really know your triad vocabulary. A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C. And so that when you see those letters, they register. Okay? That's exactly right. It's an inverted F with a G on the bass. Perfect. But the point is to have the chord to make sense to you so that in your system of thinking that you recognize it, so that when you come to another song with the exact same things in it, that it makes a connection for you. And it makes us learn music faster, and it brings the world of music a little closer to home, I think, is what theory does ultimately. So, yeah, I hope you guys got some fun. Any other, we'll stay on for a couple more minutes just see if we have any more questions or comments. And you can ask anything, comment on anything, what you guys are working on, what you'd like to see on the website, so forth. We do have, while we're waiting on that, our podcast coming up, our podcast series.
Yes, as soon as I learn how to edit.
Yeah. But your singing is out of this world. It makes me not want to even sing at all. I just want to let you sing everything. But
let's not go really that far.
Yeah. Well, we're working on the Rumors album here, Fleetwood Mac, and we're just doing, one episode at a time, and we're doing each song, and we're performing it, and Shawn is singing, I'm playing. Then we're talking about the song, about the band. She's done a lot of research on the...
Not a lot.
It seems like a lot to me. a lot of research on the band and what they went through making this. It's really interesting. So we're just kind of sharing everything with each song. And of course, as we're doing it, I'm recording the lessons for each song and put them on the website too, so you guys can hop on and learn. But we're having a lot of fun doing this album. I don't know, what do you think we'll do next?
I
After
don't know.
this one? Yeah, just want to get this one first.
Yeah, I gotta literally get through the weekend.
Yeah, with the graduation and everything.
It's also the last week of school for our other kids,
Mm-hmm.
which we've talked about it before, but they go to a university model school, so they only go to school 3 days a week, and they're home 2 days a week for homeschool.
Yeah, well, it really is.
It is.
Even without quotes,
I've been a homeschool mom before with my older kids, where I had to plan everything. So I don't do any planning. They just tell me what to do, and it is so much nicer.
Yeah.
So I want to give full-time homeschool moms the credit that they deserve, because it is a different beast.
Yeah.
I have a whole team of people just doing the research and telling me what to do. It's awesome.
All right. So again, we'll just wrap it up here. Hope you learned something from the theory. And we do have a
good question from Robin.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, she said, can you give an idea of what's included in your master class? I've got rhythm videos. What grade is it? And any Latin stuff?
The I Got Rhythm masterclass was designed for people who always say, well, I've heard this since I've started on YouTube in 2007. I can't get my hands to play together. I can't get my hands in sync. I can't get coordinated rhythmically. So I created that series.
Well, first, I want to say
that
it's not a note reading issue. It's not a it's a rhythm issue.
Yeah,
is why you can't get your hands to play
together. It's
a
rhythm issue, right? It's not knowing what the notes are, knowing what it's a rhythm thing. So I designed some things to work specifically on that problem. So we just have a handful of well, actually not a handful, quite a few songs that I picked that had repeating chord progressions, so that we could work on that problem. Instead of having to learn a bunch of notes for a song, we have chords and different patterns with those chords to help you really get in sync rhythmically with all the possibilities that you could possibly have while you're playing. And I feel like I covered extensively everything. And I feel like if you do all the lessons in that series, you should be pretty sound rhythmically after you really spend a lot of time in those lessons. They're not graded. So really, it's something that'll be.
Well, it kind of starts with levels. So let's say I'm trying to think of one of the songs. The only one I didn't want to mention this one, but the only one I can remember is Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. So for instance, he'll use that song, and there's a level 1 of Achy Breaky Heart. So it's an easier rhythmic pattern using that chord progression. Then it progresses to an intermediate rhythmic pattern, but same chords.
That's right.
And then an advanced rhythmic pattern, but still the same song and the same chords. So your brain's not having to think of the song itself. You're really just working on the rhythmic patterns around the chord progression of
Very
each
good.
song.
You explained it much better than I did. I should have let you do it in the first place.
Yes, I'm trying to remember how it's organized on the site. I think when you click on a song, you then can click on the beginner, intermediate, advanced.
Yeah.
Within the subcategory of each song.
Right. So it's user friendly for beginners, but it also allows for you to progress.
Oh, I'm sorry. Robin is a male, not a female.
Okay.
My bad.
I can't. Anytime I hear the name Robin, I think of the actress on How I Met Your Mother. Right? Isn't there Robin on there?
Oh, I don't know. I think of a girl I went to high school with. I
so
could think of Batman and Robin.
Probably,
though.
Yeah. There you go. So, so great question on that. But that's why I created it, because a lot of people have that trouble. They feel like they can't get their hands going together, and it's a rhythm problem. And so those lessons were specifically designed to help you to isolate that problem by not having you focus on all the other things that you could have problems with, just that one thing, so you could really get some work on that. So, yeah.
And you did a second
Yeah, did a second series too.
I honestly don't remember much about that one at all.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while.
But there's a ton of them on there. Yeah.
And in fact, the first series, the Masterclass Volume 1, he had some of our friends helped us out. So a couple of them were complete piano beginners, had never, ever played or taken a lesson. They showed up that day, very brave.
They agreed to do it on the spot, on camera.
And so they're learning on the spot, which the benefit for you guys watching is if one person has questions, it's typically a question that multiple people have.
Yeah.
So you kind of get, without getting the direct feedback yourself, you get feedback through the other person learning. And then the advanced person is advanced.
Yeah. But we purposely, I didn't prep them or prepare them or show them what we're going to do first so that they would be completely on the spot like you would be if you were doing it.
What was interesting about that, so it's 3 different people. One person was a total beginner and so happy to jump in, didn't care, just loved every second of it. The second person was happy to jump in, but was a little nervous, but was just is a learner, she's a teacher, so she's a lifelong learner. And the other person hated not getting to prepare.
Yeah.
It went against every fiber of their being to not be fully prepared.
Yet they still did great.
He still did it.
Yeah.
So that was a whole psychological project too.
Yes, and our dream is to do more of that, to have people on the show or whatever you want to call it on YouTube. Yeah.
Should we tell people our big
plans? Yeah,
so
go for it.
Our big goals, because we always want to gather together. That's our big thing. But it's hard when you have an internet business and you're not really social media people. That's tough for us.
Yeah.
So we want to gather together in the best way that we can. So the Skype lessons, we want to have people come into our studio.
Right.
And chat on the podcast or in a live like this, because everybody's story is so unique and so special, and especially when it revolves around music or certain songs or memories and songs together, it's fascinating to me and enjoyable. So we want to do that, and right now this is our new temporary set.
Yeah.
I wish sometime we need to turn the cameras around and
let
show
you see the rest of the room.
What the rest of the room looks like, which is 100 times better than it looked last week because you did a big clean out. But the rest of the room is there's Xbox and TV. There's a mess of stuffed animals and American Girl doll stuff and
couch cushions everywhere.
Couch cushions everywhere and pillows and but this is our new temporary spot. But we would we have big dreams. Yeah. To close in our shop. We have a shop on our property, and we're not
I'm not really a shop guy, and they're making stuff and so on.
We're not fixing cars or building things. It's just full of junk right now. It's full of all the stuff that came out of this room. Yeah. Plus more. Yeah. So we want to close that in and make us a real office, a real studio with recording capabilities and podcast capabilities and just a place to store all our stuff, and then also an apartment.
Yes, the other half. So half that.
Yeah,
half,
for people to stay if they're going to come on. Also for our soon-to-be college son, so when he comes home, he can be near but not in the house.
Yeah. If you know what I'm saying, if you've had one, yeah.
Anyway, so and wanting to do more of these lives. We are getting into the summer. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. So that's our big dream. We want to close in the shop and have a dedicated place that's just for lessons, just for web piano teacher stuff, and
so every I'll just say it, every Zoom lesson, every hired request, every membership right now is going to help us make that happen, because currently that's the business plan, and there is not the business funds. Yeah. They do not exist. Yeah. We also choose to do this right when we send a kid to college.
That's true. Yeah. Gosh, if we didn't have kids, we'd be doing pretty well.
Yeah. Oh,
they take all the money.
Today's our anniversary.
That's right. 19 years. Happy anniversary, babe.
Thanks. To you too. We might celebrate with some yard work.
Oh, yeah. All right. So we have anything else?
see. We got a question.
Okay.
Yes, Vooter, I agree. These sessions help build a piano playing community.
That's what we want to do.
He said, thanks for the enthusiasm. I had to regain some enthusiasm.
Uh-huh.
Is that keyboard expensive? My Roland doesn't sound as good. We did talk about this yesterday.
Yes, we did. But for the people who didn't hear, I'll just kind of go real quick again. It is expensive. I think it's like $2,300, something like that. $2,400.
I don't remember.
Yeah, on anywhere you would get it, but brand new, and it's a little more expensive than some of the others. But for what you get, I mean, it's just hands down the best. And you heard that it sounded better than yours. It really does, because I've played I spent a long time playing and watching reviews of all the other keyboards you could get, Sage pianos. This is one I chose, Kwai MP11 SE, because of the action is great, the piano sounds are wonderful, the ease of using it, and also the ease of plugging in external sounds to increase your sound library with running the sounds right back through the keyboard where you don't have to do anything. So yeah, man, I highly recommend it.
I do always give a little asterisk. You do have to buy an external.
Yeah, for speakers, right?
Speakers.
Right.
It doesn't have speakers built in.
Well, none of them do.
Well, some of them.
None of the high end
right.
have speakers. If you buy a cheapie, which cheapies are good for a lot of people, but they're not going to have speakers on them. You have to.
So you have to think about speaker cables, a stand. It's not in a
but it's worth saving for. Yeah, especially when you think of how much an acoustic instrument would be to buy. So then it becomes really.
It is expensive, but for what it is reasonably priced.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it really is. I mean, it's one of the most. It is, to me, the most underrated electric piano instrument ever. So anyway.
All right, Kevin. Love the progressive.
Kevin's a long-time member, long-time hard request person. I really appreciate Kevin. I have quite a few guys like Kevin, so they're great. They keep me going.
Gosh, you've been around since the graduate, soon-to-be graduate. It was wreaking havoc during lessons.
Oh, yeah, right. That's what I've told people.
Erasing your boards.
We need to have him walk in here at some point. People would freak out.
I know.
Yeah, Carter. Oh my gosh, he would be totally fine till something in a little kid, at least in Carter, he would sense that I'm doing something important or something and then he would, for where he was in the house, he'd show up and he would not stop. He'd be at the door and he knows, sign on the door or whatever. Don't bother Dad. He's filming. And he would start talking, and then I would say, Carter. I would look at him, give him a look, and then he would just keep going and push it, And so till I finally just said, you know what, I'll never get anything done unless I just let the camera roll. So I'd let it roll and take care of change a diaper, whatever I needed to do. And then
because I was working outside the home at the time. Right.
Yeah. So the other day when Jonah came in, it was just an automatic deal for me to keep going. Hey, Jonah, well, just come down, sit down. Let's see you do your cubes.
He was offended that somebody thought perhaps you cut the camera when he was solving his Rubik's Cube, that you cut the camera
and then he
picked up a solved one. He was highly offended.
He was. He did not like that. He wanted to do it again.
Because he can solve the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Goodness. All right, so we'll leave you with this. High requests. Send them YouTube link to easypianolessons@yahoo.com. Also, if you'd like to do a Zoom lesson, those are fun. I did the first one the other day. It worked really great. Don't be afraid of doing that. Don't feel like you have to get good enough to have the lesson. Come to me how you are right now, because,
You could come never having touched a keyboard.
Yeah. And
you could finish the lesson playing Let It Be by the Beatles.
Yep. So send me an email for that as well if you'd like to do it. So anyway, Genesis Afterglow is up on the site in 2 long lessons along with the sheets, and working on some more stuff coming up.
Yeah. See you guys.
See ya.
When we see ya.